I had the midnight 6 a.m. shift walking loops through a small museum. My motive was the overtime that kept my rent paid. My role was the lone guard with keys and cameras, and my plan was to kill the dead hours by lurking/X on my phone, laugh at fake rituals, then finish my rounds and go home. I clocked in with my supervisor's last text still on my screen. Don't forget the logbook. Neat times, no gaps, like he was my dad. Not a guy who sits at home asleep while I babysit dead people's donations. I did the first patrol, checked the exit bars, checked the back door seal, shined my light down the bathrooms, then sat at the security desk with the monitors humming and the building pretending it wasn't empty. I opened/X because boredom makes you stupid, and the thread was right there, top of the board. Museum loop game. It wasn't spooky poetic, it was procedural. Opie posted a grainy still of a gallery corner and asked the nonce to confirm the angle. They did it fast, like they were solving a puzzle for money. Lines drawn over the still, somebody naming the exact kind of exit sign glow, somebody guessing the layout off ceiling tiles and the way track lights reflect in glass. One anon wrote, "Small municipal museum, 2 floors, lone guard," and I felt my stomach do a little drop because yeah, that's me, that's here. Opie said the rule was simple. Walk your normal route, but every time you pass a mirror or glass case, you don't look at your reflection, you look for what's late. I told myself it was bullshit and still stood up for my 1:30 round with that phrase stuck in my head like gum. First floor, ritual objects gallery, bronze mask behind glass. I passed the case and forced my eyes off my own face and onto the timing. My reflection didn't move with me. It lagged, cleanly like a stream buffering. I stopped without thinking. The reflection took 1 extra step and stopped 2, half a beat behind. I tried to laugh and couldn't. I lifted my hand. In a glass, my hand came up after mine. I stepped forward fast. Late. I stepped back. Late. The delay stayed fixed, like something had inserted itself between me and the case and decided I was a recording now. I sped up down the hallway, because that's what my body does when it runs out of explanations. Acrylic framed photos, other glass cases, the lobby window, every surface gave me the same problem. Me, but a fraction late, following. My radio crackled once, that sharp pop that usually means someone keyed up, then dead air. I clicked the button and got nothing back but a soft hiss, like the building breathing into my hand. I hit the stairs. There's a mirror on the landing that day staff thinks is welcoming. I kept my eyes on it anyway, because I could not. In the mirror, I came up the stairs late, same half beat. I stopped on the landing. The reflection took 1 extra step and stopped, shoulders still moving like it had momentum to bleed off. I felt stupid fear and real anger mixed together. I'm not built for supernatural shit. I'm built for doors that don't latch and drunks trying to sneak into the lobby. I shoved into the security office and went straight to the camera monitors because cameras are supposed to be the truth. The grid flickered and 1 feed showed me walking down the 2nd floor hallway I hadn't entered yet. Same uniform, same stride, same flashlight bob. I looked at my own boots, like the floor would swear an oath, then looked back. The feed kept playing like it didn't care whether I agreed with it. I grabbed the mouse and tried to pull up the DVR time bar. The timestamps jumped around, forward then back, like the recorder couldn't lock onto a present. Then the desk camera feed, my own office, showed the desk from above. And there I was, standing at the desk, watching the screens exactly like I was. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. The version on camera lifted his hand a second before I did. I watched my own arm start to move like it was taking cues. I yanked it back, heart pounding, and the guy on the screen still finished the motion, calm like he owned the timing now. I ran. I yanked open the staff door. I cut through the storage room, kicked a box of pamphlets by accident. Cursed, kept going. I wasn't thinking escape. I was thinking reset, like if I broke the line of sight between me and every reflective surface, the whole thing would crash. I hit the desk again from the other side, slammed the office door, and stared at the screens. Every camera showed empty halls except one, And in that one I saw myself standing at the desk, watching the screens exactly like I was. This time the camera me moved first again, hand lifting, shoulders shifting, and my body kept trying to follow a beat behind. My phone buzzed and /X kept updating like it was watching the feed too. Anons typed, "Don't break the loop, stay inside frame, he's almost synced." Somebody wrote, "Stop running, you're dropping frames." Somebody else wrote, "If you turn off the witnesses, you'll feel better for about 10 seconds. I didn't type a word. I just scrolled and felt my skin crawl because it read like instructions for handling me, not a game. I tried to call someone anyway because panic makes you reach for rules. I dialed the alarm company number taped to the wall. It rang once. Then the line gave me my own ringback tone again, late like it was echoing through a tunnel. I hung up and called my supervisor. Straight to voicemail. I tried again, and the voicemail greeting played with a stutter, like the phone couldn't buffer his voice. I slammed the phone down and immediately hated myself for how loud it was. I killed the monitors. I flipped the power strip and the grid went black. The hum stopped. The building went quiet in a way that felt wrong, like the cameras had been the only witnesses keeping me stitched together. I stood there in the dark glow of the exit sign, listening to my own breathing and waiting for the instant relief the thread promised. It didn't come. The black screens turned into mirrors anyway. My face stared back at me, perfectly synced now, no lag, no half-beat. That should have calmed me down. It didn't. Perfect timing felt like it meant the problem had finished loading. I forced myself to do something normal. I opened the logbook because if I didn't keep records, I'd get written up, and getting written up is a real problem I know how to hate. My last patrol entry was at 12:17. After that, nothing, just the same pen stroke repeated down the page like my hand had kept writing without thinking. Not words, not times, just a single downstroke, copied again and again until the paper grooved. I traced it with my thumb and felt the ridges. I tried to remember sitting here doing that, and my brain gave me blank static, like someone had cut out the middle of the night and replaced it with movement. I stood up, told myself I was leaving, walked to the lobby, put my hand on the front door bar, and stopped because the glass was a giant mirror and I could not handle another test. Outside was still dark, parking lot lights buzzing, cars rare. I picture my reflection lagging out there with the whole world behind it, and I stepped back. So I sat. I waited. I kept my flashlight in my hand like that mattered. Time didn't behave. My phone would say 3:12, then I'd look up and the wall clock would be at 3:40 like it jumped while I blinked. Sometimes my radio clicked like someone tapped the talk button, then nothing. I didn't go back into the galleries. I didn't trust glass. I didn't trust mirrors. I barely trusted my own hands. At 5:58 a.m., my relief guard called from the parking lot and asked why I'd been sitting at the desk for hours without moving. He sounded pissed, like I'd been messing with him on purpose. I told him to get inside and stop hovering. He snapped that he could see me through the lobby glass, and I hadn't moved since he pulled in. He said he'd been out there since 5:20, watching through the glass like he didn't want to share air with me. He asked if I was high. I told him, "I'm not high, I'm on shift, open the damn door." He said, "No, you're sitting there like a mannequin." And when I told him to stop being a bitch and walk in, he went quiet for a second and said, "You're not blinking." I felt my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. I stared at the dead monitors, then at my own hands, and I couldn't even argue because I didn't know what my body had been doing when I wasn't watching it. I checked the logbook again like it would defend me. It didn't. The last real time was still 12:17, and then the page just bled that repeated stroke down into nothing. 6 hit, and the air shifted, not dramatic, just a pressure change like the building decided it was done with me. I walked out at sunrise and caught my reflection in the front door glass. It matched me perfectly. No lag, no trick. That should have felt like relief. It didn't because my phone buzzed once with a final /X reply. Good. Now I can go outside without dropping frames. I had a Saturday intake shift at the county animal shelter, My motive was to get through a wave of abandoned pets after the holidays. My role was the person who photographs strays and logs details. And my plan was to post one blurry screenshot of a messed up found pet, note to 4chan/B for a laugh, then go back to cleaning kennels. The note was just weird handwriting and a phone number half scratched out. I didn't show the kennel card. I didn't show the address. I thought I was being careful. Intake was already backed up. People kept yanking the bell and shoving carriers at us like we were a drive-through. One guy tried to hand me a pit mix by the collar. No leash, no warning, and when the dog snapped at my forearm, he acted offended, like I'd insulted him. I logged the bite risk, took the photo, wiped blood off my sleeve, and kept moving because that's what you do. I cropped the note tight, tossed it on /B, and went back to hosing kennels, thinking the internet would give me 10 minutes of stupid laughter and then forget me. It didn't forget. It didn't even pause. Within an hour, Anons were zooming the paper fibers like it was a crime scene, matching the shelter form template, finding our public posts, then pulling our staff list. Someone dropped my name with a smug little gotcha. Another guy posted my face from the staff page and called me a dog thief. My phone started lighting up with DMs from accounts with anime avatars and burner numbers. I tried to delete the image. Too late. There were mirrors, archives, screenshots with arrows and circles like they were building a case. I sat in my car after shift, hands shaking on the steering wheel, watching strangers argue about what kind of person I was like I was a character on a show. By Sunday, the thread decided the shelter was stealing dogs. They didn't investigate. They didn't ask. They built a story because it felt good to have a villain. They started calling nonstop. They filled our voicemail with threats and fake tips. They doxed volunteers, posted their kids' schools, mocked their faces. A couple of Anons begged people to stop. The rest treated it like a raid with loot. I made the mistake of replying once, just one sentence, telling them they were wrong. That single reply got screenshotted too, turned into confession panic. I learned fast you can't win a game where the other side gets points for your breathing. I told my supervisor that afternoon. She didn't scream, which somehow hurt worse. She asked what I posted, exact words, exact image. I showed her. She went quiet, then said flat that county admin would handle it, and told me to stop touching social media. Meanwhile, the phones kept ringing and the volunteers kept showing up because these people love the animals more than they loved safety. I watched them sign in with that nervous, brittle smile, like they were trying to prove they weren't scared. One of them pulled me aside and said her neighbor sent her a screenshot of her address on some forum. She asked if this was because of me. I tried to answer, and nothing came out clean. Monday morning, I walked up to the front door and saw a box on the step. Plain cardboard, taped shut, set dead center like somebody placed it carefully. For half a second, I thought it was donations, blankets, kibble, the usual. Then I lifted it and felt the weight shift wrong. I opened it right there because I was dumb and angry and tired. Inside was a dead cat wrapped in a towel with a printed 4chan screenshot taped to it like a label. The caption on the print said, "Return property." My throat locked. The front desk volunteer made this small broken noise and then started swearing, non-stop, like the words were the only thing keeping her upright. We called police. Police shrugged. They took photos, asked if we had cameras, asked if we had any suspects. I told them the suspect was a mob. One officer said, "Could be kids online," like that was comforting. They told us to document everything and call if anyone showed up. I wanted to throw the box at them. We changed the phone number. They found a new one. We switched to a Google Voice line. They posted it. We pulled staff names off the website. They posted cached copies. We locked the lobby and started doing intake through a cracked window like a pawn shop. Someone posted a close-up photo of our side entrance taken in daylight. The angle tight enough you could see the scratches on the handle. That photo scared me more than the threats because it meant somebody came here, stood close, took their time, and left. After that, every time a car rolled slow past the building, my whole body tensed like a dog hearing fireworks. Inside, the place turned on itself. A kennel tech cornered me by the washer and called me a selfish bitch, Said her sister's kid's school got posted and now she had to tell the teacher why strangers were asking questions. I said I was sorry. She laughed in my face and said sorry doesn't unring phones. Admins started barking orders about brand protection, while volunteers begged them to stop posting updates because every post gave the thread new ammo. People argued over stupid shit. Who left the gate unlatched, who forgot to blur a tag, because arguing felt like control. The animals absorbed it. Dogs started spinning in circles in their runs. Cats stopped eating. We logged stress colds, I gooped coughs, and kept bleaching. Then the thread got the one thing it needed to go from cruel to contagious, a real mistake. A volunteer had posted a dog photo early, before the hold period ended, and Anons used it like proof of theft. They didn't care that the dog was safe. They cared that the dog was useful. They reposted his face with captions about kidnapping and selling strays. People started calling the county commissioners, the mayor, local news, anyone who might enjoy outrage. Donations dried up. A rescue partner backed out in an email full of apologies and fear, said their board got threatened. Fosters stopped answering messages. One foster mom texted me a screenshot of a stranger messaging her teenage daughter, then told me to never contact her again. She wasn't cruel. She was protecting her kid. Illness spread because that's what happens when animals sit and rotate slower. We ran out of isolation space, so we hung sheets and tried to pretend fabric could stop viruses. We stopped taking owner surrenders except emergencies, which just meant people dumped animals in the parking lot at night. We found 2 dogs tied to the fence one morning, leashes knotted so tight they'd rub skin raw. Somebody left a printed meme on the windshield of my car. My face, a clown nose, the words dog thief. I tore it up and kept the pieces in my pocket like a sick souvenir. County held a meeting about us. We sat in the back while strangers took turns at the mic, calling us criminals, talking like they'd been here, like they'd seen our work. One guy read screenshots like scripture. I watched a commissioner nod along, the way people nod when they want a problem to go away. Admin tried to explain hold periods and intake overflow and got shouted down. Afterward, my supervisor pulled me into her office and asked me, again, why I posted that note. I said I thought it was harmless. She slammed her hand on the desk hard enough to rattle the pens and said harmless doesn't leave dead cats on our step. She told me the county's legal team wanted names, wanted someone to pin it on, and if I thought I was stressed now, wait until HR got involved. That's when I realized nobody was going to protect us. They were going to protect the county. At the end of the month, the county cut our funding due to public controversy. They said it like it was tidy. They gave us a timeline and a number of kennels we could keep open until shut down. That translated into a list. Who could transfer out, who could foster, who could rescue pull, who couldn't. Couldn't meant no space, no money, no hands. We euthanized perfectly adoptable dogs because we ran out of space. I held a shaking pit mix while the needle went in and felt my own brain split. Half rage, half numb, both useless. He pressed his head into my chest like he still trusted people. I kept my hand on his ribs until the breathing stopped because leaving early felt like betrayal. Then I washed the table, logged the time, moved the body, and walked right back in the kennel room where a dozen other animals were barking and coughing like nothing had changed. That night, I checked 4chan one last time and saw an Anon post a screenshot of our closure announcement with laughing emojis. No victory speech, just a meme. I stared at the comments until my eyes burned, not because I wanted to punish myself, but because I needed to know what kind of nothing they felt after it was done. I didn't smash my phone. I didn't scream. I just sat there and understood the cleanest horror of it. Nobody had to touch a single animal to kill them. They just had to aim a crowd at us and let cruelty do what crowds do. I had back-to-back student appointments. My motive was to get through finals week without anyone melting down in my office. My role was the person who signs forms and talks people off ledges, and my plan was to decompress at lunch by doom-scrolling 4chan for 10 minutes, then go back to being patient and professional. I ate with one hand, scrolled with the other, and dropped into a thread that wasn't gore or paranormal. It was a confession with bullet points, like a to-do list for destroying someone without touching them. Opie laid it out. Report them for concern, get their scholarship flagged, isolate them by planting rumors, push them until they snap, then stand back and act like you were just trying to help. The replies didn't flinch. Nobody asked if he was serious. They asked for technique. They asked how to make it look accidental. They traded phrases that sounded like my job. We're worried about you. We noticed changes, resources, support. All that soft shit you can hide a blade inside. My stomach turned because it matched a student I'd been trying to keep afloat all semester. Smart kid. Good work when he could focus. Then late assignments. Then missed labs. Then this ugly paranoia that people were setting him up. Faculty started calling him unstable. I watched his friends stop returning calls. I watched him start apologizing for existing. The more he begged to be believed, the less anyone listened. Then Opie posted a screenshot of an email template. Generic wording, but the signature block was my department. Not my name, not the logo, just the exact phrasing we use, down to the stupid student success and care team line and the warm little sign-off that always reads fake. My throat tightened because I recognized the tone. Polite threat, dressed as kindness. I told myself it was coincidence. Then Opie bragged about a dorm move for safety and a scholarship review triggered by a concerned advisor. That wasn't random internet cosplay. That was someone who knew the machine. 2 hours later, the same student came in shaking. No hello. He dumped a printed stack of emails on my desk, hard enough the stapled corner gouged the wood. He said I was in on it. He said my department was trying to get him kicked out. His hands wouldn't stop twitching. The top email had my name typed at the bottom and my campus address in the footer. It accused him of hostile communication. Another said he'd been reported and should expect a misconduct review. Another pushed him toward counseling like it was a requirement. I pulled up my sent folder and showed him. Nothing. I opened our advising notes. Nothing. I showed him the audit trail that logs every student contact. Still nothing. I could prove I didn't send those messages. It didn't matter. The damage already lived in his face. Someone had trained him to distrust any hand reaching out because every hand in his world now had a form behind it. I tried to pivot to action. I offered to walk him to the dean of students. I offered to sit in any meeting with him so he wouldn't get cornered. Just hearing counseling made him recoil like I'd said discipline. He kept pointing at my type name like paper was a verdict. He demanded I tell him who told his professors he was dangerous. He demanded I explain why his scholarship advisor had emailed his parents out of concern. I didn't have a neat answer. I had a sinking feeling and a stack of forged emails. He left before I could finish, slamming my door so hard the frame rattled. I escalated the way we're trained to document, notify, route it properly. I email my supervisor with screenshots, dates, and the students' copies. I asked for IT to audit my account. I asked for campus police to be looped because my name was being used for misconduct reports. My supervisor called me in and made it about my tone. She said, don't chase internet drama. She said finals week makes students creative. She told me not to validate conspiracy thinking. I said this wasn't a conspiracy, it was impersonation, and she cut me off with that tight smile people use when they've already decided you're a problem employee. HR heard 4chan and immediately treated me like the liability. They told me to stop engaging on anonymous boards. I said I didn't engage, I read. They handed me a policy sheet about professional conduct online, like the issue was my lunch break and not someone weaponizing my identity. They reminded me the institution's reputation matters. It felt like being told the building matters more than the people inside it. The thread kept running for days like a workshop. I checked it anyway because I could not. Opie started posting wins. A student removed from a program after multiple concerns. A dorm reassignment for safety. A wellness check timed during an exam. A counseling referral used as a cudgel. It was advisor-coded cruelty. the kind that doesn't leave bruises but still kills people. And the comments cheered like it was strategy content. They traded little tricks for making a victim sound unstable on paper. I filed an IT ticket using the words that usually make people move: impersonation, account compromise, FERPA risk. IT responded with a canned email about changing passwords and enabling two-factor. I already had two-factor. I told them. They said login audits require supervisor approval. My supervisor said it wasn't necessary. So I went around her and called the help desk line, got transferred twice, and finally got a tech who sounded tired and annoyed. He told me, flatly, "Your account shows a valid login." Like that settled it. By Thursday, my coworkers started acting different. One stopped leaving her mug in the break room and took it back to her desk like she didn't trust the air around me. A faculty member I'd known for years walked past my door and didn't wave. Someone canceled a meeting with me and wrote "per supervisor" in the invite like I was radioactive. It was subtle, but it stacked up, and it did exactly what the OP described: isolate, destabilize, make you doubt your own reality. On Friday, campus police emailed me a notice. My name had been used to file a misconduct report against the same student. I hadn't filed it. The system showed my login anyway. The timestamp hit during my lunch break, the exact window I'd been on that thread. My skin went cold. That detail was too perfect. Someone wanted it to line up. Someone wanted a clean story where I read the playbook at noon and used it at 12:17. I met with an officer and watched him watch me. He asked if I shared passwords. No. He asked if I left my computer unlocked. No. He asked if I'd had conflict with the student. I said I'd spent months trying to keep him enrolled. He wrote it down like it was just noise. He told me not to discuss it with other parties, and then, in the same breath, asked for my campus ID number in case access needs to be reviewed. An hour later, my badge didn't open the advising suite door. I stood in the hallway like an idiot, swiping again and again while students walked past. I had to call the front desk and asked to be let in, and the receptionist's eyes did that flicker people do when they think you're in trouble. My supervisor popped her head out and hissed that I was making a scene. I told her my access was cut. She shrugged like it was a weather report and said I should keep my head down until this blows over. I heard myself raise my voice. I said, "It's not going to blow over. They're using me." She went cold and said, "Watch it." Not loud, not dramatic, just a warning. I sat in my car after work with both hands locked on the wheel like I was stopping myself from doing something stupid. The confession wasn't just bragging. It was training. It was a crowd learning how to erase a person with paperwork. And then they tried a new move, erase me as the scapegoat. They could ruin that student and pin it on the helpful advisor who overstepped. They could burn us both and call it due process. I did the dumb, panic thing anyway. I went home and scrubbed my browser history like it would wash the day off. I cleared cache, cookies, everything. I changed my passwords again. I checked my sent folder again like I'd find a smoking gun I could point at. I sent the student one more email from my real account. Short, no warmth, just facts that I didn't file anything and my name was being used. No reply. He stopped answering. His finals ended. Mine didn't. Finals week ended with a campus-wide email about community care and reporting concerns responsibly. And I swear to God it read like it was written by the thread. I took screenshots of everything, printed system logs I was allowed to see, saved them to a flash drive like I was collecting proof for a trial that would never happen. Summer came and the thread died. The campus went quiet the way it always does when the students leave, like the place is pretending it never hurt anyone. My supervisor acted like none of it happened. HR never followed up. IT never sent a real audit. Campus police never gave me a case number. It all slid into the institutional sinkhole where uncomfortable things go. Then a new one popped up with the same writing style and a new title. Who's ready to train an advisor?